I gathered my things from the car and made my way towards the cabin, La Maison de la Paix. Even the name asks something of you. Asks you to slow down before you've even opened the door. And then I did. I opened the door. To the left, a wood stove, small, sturdy, patient. The kind that doesn't just heat a room, but changes the feeling of it entirely. The kind that makes a space feel like it had a heartbeat. Straight ahead, a little kitchen, everything you need, nothing you don't. And then to the right, the staircase, narrow, unhurried, leading you up to the loft where the bed awaits, simple and quiet and perfectly placed. But it was what I found up there that stopped me. A small patio, just big enough for one person, maybe two, and their thoughts overlooking the trees, open to the sky. A front row seat to the birds. I set my bags down. I looked around and I thought, yes, this will do just fine. The property holds many little cabins, each one tucked quietly into the landscape. And as I walked past them, I began to truly understand the philosophy of this place. No extras, no luxuries, no distraction dressed up as comfort. The small cabins, just a bed, a table, a hot plate. That's it. That is everything. That is the point. My cabin felt almost generous by comparison. A small kitchen, a bathroom. But walking past those stripped down little shelters, I felt something shift in me. A quiet reminder that we need so much less than we think we do. That the bare minimum, when chosen intentionally, is enough. I returned to my cabin, made my tea, sat down, and attempted, with a very degree of success, to quiet my mind and, as one might say, get with the program. The mind, as it turns out, did not get the memo immediately, but the tea helped, and the silence was patient. It would wait for me to catch up. The tea had done its work. Something in me had settled. Not completely, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to feel the difference between the woman who had walked through the doors a few hours ago and the one that was lacing up her boots. I pulled them on slowly, camera ready, heart a little lighter. And I stepped outside. Where would the path take me? I had no idea. And for the first time all day, that felt exactly right. And almost immediately, The Pat asked me a question, left or straight ahead. I stood there for a moment, no map, no agenda, no right answer. So I did what felt natural. I went straight. And I'll be honest with you, the straight path looked safer, more familiar, more known. I smiled at myself a little for that, because here I am in a silent retreat in the middle of the woods, seeking the unknown. And given my first choice, I took the safer road. We can't always help ourselves, can we? But here's the thing. The path I chose, my safe, straight, predictable path, was breathtaking. The light fell across the trail in a way that felt almost deliberate, like it had been placed there just so, just for this moment, just for whoever was willing to keep walking forward. And I thought, maybe that's the lesson. Maybe the safe path isn't the wrong path. Maybe it's simply your path. And if you walk it with your eyes open, with intention, with your camera ready, and your heart willing, it will give you everything you need. The sky was changing above me, darker now, heavy with the possibility of rain, the kind of skies that suggests you should perhaps turn back. I kept going. Or a place designed for exactly what I had come to La Solitude to do, reflect, pause, be still. I walked right through it, barely slowing down, barely looking around, eyes fixed forward, feet already moving towards whatever came next. I wanted to see the end of the trail. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe old habits die hard. And then, finally, I sat down. I leaned in, and for the first time since arriving, truly, fully, I stopped. I watched the bay, the water doing whatever water does, moving without urgency, existing without explanation. I listened to the birds, not identifying them, not photographing them, not doing anything useful or productive with them, just listening. My camera sat beside me, patient, waiting, no pressure. And I made myself a quiet promise. If something presents itself, I would be ready. But I would not chase it. I would not rush towards it, or demand it, or make it happen. I would simply be here, open, still, available. And isn't that really what La Solitude has been asking me all along? Not to find anything, just to finally be findable. Spring had not yet arrived. The forest was still bare, still wearing the last remnants of winter, stripped back, honest, unadored. And somehow more beautiful for it. The pack kept asking its question, left or right? And I kept walking, kept looking, kept letting my eyes find what needed to be found. And things did speak to me. A nice piece of bark clinging on, holding its place on the tree. Dead, yes, but not done. Because nothing in nature is ever truly wasted. That bark will fall, it will return to the earth, and from it, new growth, new life, new possibilities. We do not disappear, we transform. And then a squirrel, darting alive, impossibly busy and joyful in the way that only squirrels can be. A tiny furry reminder that life is plentiful, and that even in the bare winter forest, in the middle of grief, in the middle of searching, there is abundance. Rejoice in the possibilities. I smile. I couldn't help it. And then the path made the decision for me. It led me, naturally, inevitably right to the step that opens to the bay. And there it was, the bay, open, vast, unhurried, and unstoppable all at once. The water comes in twice a day, each day, has always come, will always come, the shoreline meeting in each time, battered, challenged, pushed, and pulled by force far greater than itself. And yet, the shoreline remains. Worn, perhaps, shaped differently than it once was, changed by everything it had weathered, but still there, still standing, still exactly where it is supposed to be. I stood at the edge and looked across to the other side of the bay. Over there, people are going about their Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, their errands, their meetings, their noise, their rush, living their lives as the speed that modern life demands. Not knowing that on the other side of the bay, someone was standing completely still, not producing, not performing, not achieving anything measurable or useful or impressive, just being. Just breathing in the vastness of it all, and thinking about how strange and beautiful it is that stillness and busyness can exist at the same time, separated only by water. That the world can be both loud and quiet simultaneously. I made my way back to the cabin, arms carrying the basic from the kitchen: soup, bread, yogurt. Simple, honest, enough. I heated the soup, made a sandwich, what I call soul food. Not because of what it is, but because of what it asks of you. Nothing. It asks absolutely nothing. No reservation, no menu, no decision fatigue. Just warmth in a bowl and something to hold in your hand. I sat down and ate slowly. And as the quiet settles around me like a familiar blanket, I noticed something surprising. The quiet was not hard. I had expected to struggle with it, expected to reach for my phone, for noise, for distraction, expected the silence to feel like deprivation. Instead, it felt like relief. The stillness, the simplicity, just ordinary soup and bread in a small cabin in the woods. I was enjoying this. And yet, a question had been following me all day, padding softly behind me on every trail, sitting beside me on the bay, waiting patiently while I ate my soup. Why here? I had choices. I always have choices. There are dozens ways I could have spent these days away with my camera. A dozen beautiful places calling my name. And yet something I still couldn't fully name, had brought me specifically here. To silence, to simplicity, to la solitude. Why? I didn't have the answer yet. but I was beginning to trust that it would find me. The sun began its slow descent. I climbed the stairs to the loft. Just me, the fading light, and the blank page. Journaling, my oldest, most faithful creative companion. The one practice that has never let me down. There is something about the physical act of it. Pen to paper, hand moving, thoughts spilling out in real time. That's no other medium quite replaces it. I began to write, not with a plan, not towards any particular destination, just writing, letting whatever needs to come out, come out. That is the honest truth about journaling, at least for me. Half the time, I don't even know what I'm working through until I'm already 3 pages in and something unexpected appear on the page. A word, a sentence, a truth I didn't know I was carrying. The mind is funny that way. It knows things the rest of us haven't caught up to yet. And so I wrote. The light faded slowly around me in the loft of La Maison de la Paix. The pen kept moving, and somewhere between the lines, I started to find what I had come here looking for. Awake, and my first instinct is to step onto the little patio from the loft. Still in that soft space between sleep and fully awake, the morning air found me immediately. Cool, gentle, carrying that particular freshness that only exists in the first few minutes of new day. And I just listened. The birds were already awake, already singing, going about their morning with such certainty, such purpose, as if they had never once questioned their place in the world or why they were here. I envied them a little for that. I looked up at the sky, different from yesterday, the darkness lifting, the clouds lighter, thinner, the sun quietly negotiating its way through. Not a grand sunrise, not dramatic or showy, just better than yesterday. And sometimes that is enough.
Good morning. Wow. That beautiful birds. Oh my God. That sounds so beautiful. There we go. Coffee time.
coffee, perking slowly, filling the little cabin with that particular kind of warmth that has nothing to do with temperature. That smell that says the day is really, truly beginning now. I poured my cup and settled in with my journal, trying to capture it, the feeling of this morning, that rare, fragile thing that exists only in these first quiet hours before the day makes its demand, before the mind fills up with its usual noise. I wrote slowly, not working through anything heavy today, just noticing, recording the feeling of the birds, the lighter sky, the cool air on the patio, the way 2 days of silence has begun to change something quietly inside of me. The pen moved, the coffee steamed, the pats awaited patiently as they have always been, the trees standing in the cool morning light, the pond somewhere beyond them holding its perfect stillness, the bay doing what the bay always does. Simply being there, I finished my coffee, closed my journal, put my boots. The pat had waited long enough. On my second walk, I took almost the same path, but this time I saw something I had missed the day before. A broken sign. Sentier Raymond. Raymond's path, named for the man who created this space, who walked these woods and said, "This place matters." I hadn't seen the sign the day before. I was still too much in my head, still too focused, not yet relaxed enough to truly see. But today I saw it, and I followed it. The path wandered through the trees, quiet and unhurried, until it opened up, and there was the pond, again, waiting for me, as if it had known I would come back. I took the drone up. I had been given permission, and lifted it above the trees. And what I saw took my breath completely away. From above, the pond is the heart, a perfect, unmistakable heart cradled by bare trees, held by the earth, reflecting the sky. I brought the drone back down quickly. This was not the place for noise. And then I sat, and the birds came, one by one, close enough to see, close enough to photograph, close enough to feel. And sitting there at the edge of the heart-shaped pond, the birds moving quietly around me, nature was slowly telling me why I was here. On my last morning, after breakfast, I took my last walk, with the image of the stained glass flower and iris. I came to La Solitude carrying something heavy, something I had been trying to understand since January. Her name was Iris, my sister-in-law, my confidant, my mother figure. She left us in her prime of her life, unfairly, the way the best people sometimes do, before we are anywhere near ready. And I had been walking around with the weight of that ever since, not fully knowing how I carried it, not fully understanding why. I came here looking for peace. I came here looking for answers. And sitting at the edge of the heart-shaped pond in the silence of these woods with the birds as my only company, I didn't find an answer, but I found something better. I found acceptance. The bark that holds on and then lets go, becoming fuel for new life. The shoreline battered twice a day and still standing. The pond shaped like a heart, still reflective. The birds arriving without warning, staying just long enough and then continuing on their way. Just like the people we love. Iris was here, in the blur of the ICM, in the reflection, in the heart-shaped pond, in every bird that came close enough to see. She was here. She will always be here. And I will carry her gently now, with intention, with gratitude, with love. That is why I came to La Solitude. She came to me here, in the silence, in the stillness, in the one place I was finally quiet enough to receive her. The bay comes in twice a day. It always has. It always will. Things change, and yet they stay the same. Love is like that.